1960s, 1965, September 8th. The United States and the United Kingdom imposed an arms embargo on both India and Pakistan after the 1965 war. Shipments of military equipment were halted. Partial relaxations followed in 1966, allowing non-lethal items on a case-by-case basis. 1970s, 1974, May, India's first nuclear test, known as Smiling Buddha. The result was the creation of the Nuclear Suppliers Group and a broad technology and nuclear trade denial regime targeting India for unsafeguarded nuclear activity. 1978, the U.S. Nuclear Non-Proliferation Act and related controls tightened U.S. export licensing for nuclear-related trade with India, absent full-scope safeguards. This contributed to the long nuclear technology embargo India faced through the 1980s and into the 2000s. 1990s, 1992, May 11th, U.S. sanctions under the Missile Technology Control Regime on ISRO in India and Glavkosmos in Russia over the cryogenic engine deal. These included a 2-year ban on U.S. licensed exports, imports, and government contracts for the named entities. The dispute lasted about 2.5 years. 1998, May to June, the Pokhran II nuclear tests triggered automatic U.S. sanctions under the Arms Export Control Act, Section 102, known as the Glenn Provisions. These included a cutoff of most assistance, munitions exports, U.S. government credits, and U.S. opposition to international financial institution lending. The United Nations Security Council Resolution 1172 condemned the tests. Several partners, such as Japan, froze new loans and grants, except for humanitarian aid. U.S. waiver authorities began to unwind these measures later in 1998 through 2001. 2000s, 2005 to 2008, U.S.-India Civil Nuclear Cooperation, also known as the 123 Agreement, culminated with the Nuclear Suppliers Group waiver on September 6, 2008. This ended the 3-decade multilateral nuclear trade embargo on India and allowed member states to resume civilian nuclear trade. 2010s, 2018, March to June, U.S. Section 232 tariffs imposed, 25% on steel and 10% on aluminum from most countries, including India. India retaliated later with additional duties on selected U.S. products. 2019, June 5th, the U.S. terminated India's GSP, or Generalized System of Preferences, benefits, removing duty-free access on more than $6 billion in Indian exports. At the time, India was the largest GSP beneficiary. 2019, June, India imposed retaliatory tariffs on 28 U.S. products, including almonds, apples, and walnuts, responding to Section 232 tariffs. These were later rolled back as part of a 2023 settlement. 2020s, 2023, June and September, the U.S. and India resolved 6, then all remaining World Trade Organization disputes. India removed the additional retaliatory tariffs linked to U.S. steel and aluminum measures on products including chickpeas, lentils, almonds, walnuts, apples, boric acid, and diagnostic reagents. Both sides lowered or adjusted some agricultural tariffs, including on turkey, duck, and berries. 2024 to 2025, the U.S. maintained a Section 232 steel and aluminum framework with a 25% steel baseline. Proclamations in February through June 2025 adjusted the measures, including increases and scope updates. These were global measures that affected India, among others. Quick notes and context. The 1965 to early 1970s arms embargo was initiated during active hostilities and later softened, but left a long shadow on Western defense supplies to India. The 1974 to 2008 nuclear technology embargo was not one statute, but a web of national laws and Nuclear Suppliers Group guidelines restricting nuclear and dual-use exports to India without full-scope safeguards. This effectively ended with the 2008 waiver. The 1992 missile technology case was entity-specific, but emblematic of broader space and missile technology controls India faced through the 1990s. The 1998 sanctions were significant, but partly short-lived once waiver authority was used. By the 2000s, the bilateral nuclear rapprochement reversed much of the earlier technology denial. On trade and tariffs since 2018, the biggest shocks in recent decades were the U.S. Section 232 metals tariffs, which were global, and the GSP termination, which was India-specific. The 2023 settlements unwound India's retaliatory duties and eased some market access frictions.